it's time for a quick update on the SPS tank, or soon to be anyways. Right now it's pretty empty. The plumbing's all done. The only thing I have left really is some Teflon tape. That's it. The rest of it's all completed. From now on, I'm basically working on deciding what pump I'm going to use to run the system. I've got some decisions to make on what I'm going to do for an ATO, since there's no room under there. I've got some decisions to finalize on all kinds of stuff. Dosing pump, I don't know. I literally have no other equipment really planned for it. I just had the sump and all the fancy stuff for the filtration, because that's what I was focusing on with this build. I really wanted to make that filtration look amazing. I wanted to, at the time when I got this sump, I really wanted to have a spot to put frags, because Montipores, which is what I plan to do in this tank, grow very quickly, especially if you do things right. So I need a place to put all the frags I'm going to be breaking off as they try to grow into each other. And I didn't want to muddy up the display, so I wanted to have a kind of coral nursery, as Jake Adams put it when he did his Reef Builders kind of review of the product before it came out. And I think it's going to be a great use of that. I've finally got the Nanobox Reef LED light mounted under there. It looks awesome. I'm really glad with how that turned out. I've been kind of dreaming about what the system would look like in my mind's eye ever since I started kind of putting it together, and to see it finally start coming together is absolutely amazing. So I'm really happy. I'm also just really happy with how all of the orange accents in the sump have turned out. Now, not everything I have is going to fluoresce orange, but I did make sure that when I ordered my Nanobox LED light, that they use the nice fluorescent orange lid. It'll actually glow under actinic lighting, so I may add some extra lighting to the stand. Nothing fancy, just a little bit to kind of accentuate the glowing. The tubing that I chose, the airline tubing that's going to be hooking up to my dosing system, it also glows really nicely. And then the frag rack is also glowing quite nicely. Now, the funny thing is I actually have both frag racks in there right now. There was two that came with it, the standard gray that everybody gets when they order that sump now, but I also requested a fluorescent orange rack. The fluorescent orange rack looks almost pinkish if you look at it from the thin side, but from the edge, it's definitely orange. So what I did, which I think actually looks nice, kind of mutes it a little bit, is I threw the gray rack on top of the orange rack, which doesn't only stabilize the little plugs a little bit better, because now there's even more material holding on to the base of the plug, but it kind of makes it so that only the edge is what you see being illuminated in the frag rack, which I think is kind of great. It may actually also help prevent any unwanted kind of reflective orange cast hitting the bottom of the frags. I don't know if that would have any effect on them, whether it be positive or negative, but it would at least mitigate any extra light hitting them that I wouldn't want to be hitting them. So yeah, it looks pretty snazzy under there now. Snazzier soon, I promise. Pretty snazzy at the moment. I definitely need to figure out a return pump I'm going to use. I wanted to try to color code all of the equipment. The only pumps I can really think of that might fit the bill are like an Eheim pump. They're gray for the most part, so that would technically fit. I was also thinking about a Neptune Systems return pump. They're gray and orange, fits even better. They're really pricey though, and I'm going to be honest, I don't have a ton of money left to put into this build, so I've got to be very careful. I do have some of my own pumps here. I've got a Current USA, a DC flow pump that I could technically use, and I do have one of those Eheim universal pumps that I could use, but I think the flow rating's pretty low on it. So I might try one of those to start and then upgrade later on to something that fits the bill a little bit better. So I do have some interesting things coming. I did get in touch with ProClear, who built the sump for me, and I told them I need some other stuff. So one of those things is something I haven't seen anybody else make. It's something that I wanted to, help keep the system looking really good, especially under the cabinet, and I just don't see anything available that fits the bill in a way that I would like it to. So that's going to be coming. I'm not sure exactly when, but they're working on it. I've been back and forth with Nick and Jesse over at ProClear, and so far I'm really excited about what I've been seeing, and I think it's going to turn out really awesome. I'm also going to get them to do a custom ATO reservoir, and they may or may not have a skimmer to fit the theme down there, so I may be getting a skimmer from them. The only other option I could think of that would actually fit the kind of design I've got going on down there with the colors is a NIOS quantum skimmer, but again, that's a very expensive skimmer. And I'm just really trying to not throw all my money into one thing. Whatever leftover budget I've got, I got to spread it out around as many things as possible, essentially. I do want to get a Kato reactor on this tank somehow. I don't know how I'm going to do it. We'll see if this tank stays here or not, but enough of this chatting. How about I show you how the plumbing turned out, which I'm actually pretty smitten with. Some things didn't go quite as I expected, but you'll see. It turned out pretty good, I think. Probably. Okay, so now I'm going to give you a quick rundown of how this system is designed to work. This is the Aqua drain, which goes to the purple drain, which is the main drain line. The gray is an auxiliary or backup drain line. The purple goes down to a Spears gate valve, which I'm going to use to try to essentially create a full siphon at the sump level and have the water inside of the pipe as full as possible up to about this point. If it starts to back up for whatever reason, either I'm adjusting the gate valve too much or too closed, or something in the drain is blocking it at all. The secondary drain line here, the auxiliary, if it starts to get past where the Aqua actually takes water, so the tank's starting to fill up, the gray drain line is going to be able to take any excess water and prevent the tank from actually overflowing, which is critical if you're going to try to throttle back that drain in order to try to quiet up the system by having the entry into the sump essentially a full siphon, and also just to try to make as little noise as possible by having very little room for water to splash up here in the drain. So that's how the drain system is going to work. The return is very, very straightforward. I do have a valve on the return. It's teed off to a valve in case I want to put something else on the system, whether it's a media reactor or I want to feed a UV sterilizer or a Kato reactor, whatever. So it is there as an option. Right now I just have a pipe kind of turn it downwards in a 90-degree angle, just in case I accidentally open it at all. At least the water coming out of it won't shoot across the sump, but rather just back down into the sump. I've got unions, you can see here. There's also a pair on the drain side of the sump, just so I can remove the plumbing system entirely if I need to. And I did it that way on purpose because I really want to make sure that if I have to clean anything, or I change my mind about something, or I want to take apart the system to move it, whatever, I have complete access to do that. I haven't wet tested it yet. I'm not putting water in the system just yet because I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it where it is. That's where I wanted it. There's an outlet there, it just makes life a little bit easier. But I might want to put a cabinet beside it to hide an ATO reservoir and some other stuff that obviously won't fit in that very packed stand. So I'm on the fence. It might go down the other end of the room. I'm not entirely sure. We'll see where that leads me. But let me show you some of those other things on the system I was talking about. So now you get a pretty good idea of how wonky this piping actually looks off of the tank. It looks pretty straightforward for this piece, for instance, but this is the one that's super wonky looking. Like, it's, you know, it looks fairly straightforward. Sure, you bent the pipe in a few places, but when you consider how much bending actually happens, like, look at this from the top. It is just a weird mishmash of bent pipe. And that's really what it took to get this done. Like, for me to get the pipe from the back of the tank into the spots I wanted it to go into, it just had to do this kind of weird maneuver. And the reason that is because with the Aqua in out on that side of the aquarium, the drain being on that side, and the fact that I wanted to hide this, right? If I stuck it on this side, it would have stuck out past the aquarium to go down and underneath. And with the configuration of the main drain and backup drain on the sump, this is how I had to do it. I had to somehow come off of this side and then get this gray pipe to go around and under the other side here. And there was no way to really do that on the back of the tank without adding a lot of thickness. Like, I could have tried to come around underneath and then down, but then I'd be adding like several inches, at least 2 inches, maybe 3 of extra space that the tank would have to be off of the wall, which I didn't want to do either. But, I mean, at the end of the day, it just looks hilarious, kind of off the aquarium. Man, that was just That took the most time. This ridiculousness right here took the most time. It was definitely the most frustrating part of the whole process, but I think in the end ended up being one of the most gratifying to finish. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm stoked about this build. I hope you guys are as excited about it as I am. Next video is probably going to be on wet testing it once I get the Teflon finished and figure out what pump I'm going to use for the time being. And also whether or not I move the tank, because if it's here the next time you see it, it's probably going to stay here for a very long time. If it's there, then it's going to stay there. I'm not sure if the ProClear stuff's going to be ready by the time I get the next video released. It's probably going to be a couple weeks, but whenever that comes out, I honestly can't wait to get your feedback and see what you guys think about what we've got going on under this stand from ProClear. I don't know. I'm just all jazzed up. I'm excited to get everything finished and completed so I can start getting the tank cycling. I've got some pretty cool ideas for scapes. And speaking of which, what's your favorite scape that you've seen for a reef tank? Just rock work, let's say. If you want to show me something that has coral on it as well, I definitely want to take a look. But drop that down in the comment section below, whether it's a link to a forum or another video or whatever. What is your favorite aquascape for an SPS tank that you've seen so far? And I kind of want to see what you guys think would be a good scape and compare it to what I have in mind. You can also ask me whatever question you'd like. I love chatting with you guys in the comment section, so thank you so much for reaching out to me. It is one of the most fun things for me and this hobby. And I'm gonna go because I can't stare at these lights forever lest I want to get a crazy suntan in a matter of mere moments. Not actually gonna happen, but yeah. I have water changes and fish to feed, whatever. But I'll be back soon. Take it easy.